Vice Principal Sir, our resource person, Mr. G. Raghuram Sir, HOD Sirs of respectable departments, management staff, faculty members, technical staff, and all the participants to the webinar on institutional assistance in promoting entrepreneurship. Myself, Shravan of third year mechanical engineering, Pragati Engineering College, Surumpalam. Firstly, I would like to welcome our Vice Principal Sir, K. Satyanarayan Sir, to welcome the gathering. Sir, please.
Good morning, sirs. Good morning, all the respected members. Today's chief guest, G. Program Sir, the Director, Assistant Director, MSME Development Institute, Visakhapatnam, and the faculty coordinators, Dr. Subodh Panda Sir, the Professor of EC Department, Dr. Dharmalingam Garu, the Professor of Mechanical Engineering Department, and other my colleagues and the student friends. Very good morning to one and all. So it's my privilege to be a part of this particular program, the Institutions Innovation Council, the Impact Lecture Session with the support of the Ministry of Education Innovation Cell, MIC, the Impact Session 2, the Lecture 1 to be delivered by the eminent resource person from the MSME Development Institution, Visakhapatnam. So on the topic of institutional assistance in promoting the entrepreneurship. So today we are very fortunate to have such an eminent person in the field of industry. So to share their valuable inputs to our budding engineers to promote to the Innovation Council part of this MHRD program. So thank you, sir, Raghuram sir. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be a part of this particular interactive session for our students.
Yeah, my pleasure, sir.
Sir. So I thank all the organizers for giving this a small opportunity to give an introduction about this particular program. So I wish you all the best and I wish you good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Please, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Now, I would like to introduce our resource person, Mr. G. Raghuram, sir. Sir is Assistant Director, MSME Development Institute, Government of India, Minister of MSME, Visakhapatnam. Sir studied MSc Chemistry from Andhra University during 1982 to 1984, MPhil in Chemistry during 1985. Sir completed Diploma in Marketing Management from IGNOU, New Delhi. Sir joined in Ministry of MSME, Government of India in the year 1990 and served in different places like Assam, Jharkhand, Hyderabad, and Visakhapatnam. Sir presently working as Assistant Director in MSME Development Institute, Visakhapatnam, and organizes several training programs, seminars, workshops for benefits of existing and promote prospective entrepreneurs. Sir, the stage is open for you, sir. Sir, please.
Yeah. Thank you all for inviting us for delivering a session today. And I'm very happy to associate with Pragati Engineering College. And I'm thankful to Mr. Subodh, who is in continuous interaction with me
Thank you, sir.
for today's session. Okay. So, institutional assistance for setting up of MSMEs. It is a kind of, one second, just I want to share my presentation first, okay? 1 second.
Sir, your screen is shared, sir. Only PPT has to be open.
Yeah. Okay, now I think.
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Yeah.
So but it is not in presentation mode, sir.
Presentation. I think it's okay now.
No, sir. Still. Yes, sir. Yes, got it.
Going in. Okay.
Sir, again closed, sir.
It's again, okay now?
No, sir. It is closed. Yeah, got it, sir. Okay.
Oh, okay. So first of all, Government of India has set up a separate ministry that is for MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises. And prior to that, this activity is looking after by other Minister of Industry in earlier days. So after seeing the importance of the development of MSMEs in the country, which is a very important sector for the economy and other developmental activities in any country, any developed country if you take. So by seeing that importance, Government of India has also set up a separate ministry for the promotion and development of MSMEs. So MSME ministry, MSME means you all know that micro, small and medium enterprises. We are having about 4 categories of enterprises in our country. In the first 3 categories of these MSMEs, and the last other one is the large enterprises. There is a separate department for that to look after those activities. So this MSMEs for developing this activities, the ministry is always there to develop some kind of policies, programs, and some promotional activities, some incentives, and so many things like that. And at central level, they are doing all they are defining all these things, and those policies will be implemented throughout India with the help of state governments. So that is the main objective. In this, if you see the MSME sector, how it is, how important it is very vibrant and dynamic sector in Indian economy, and just for encouraging entrepreneurship and generating employment opportunities. And in the large enterprise also, it is a complementary to large enterprise as a major suppliers. So large industries, whatever their requirements are, they are purchasing from MSMEs, most of the products. And coming to the importance of this sector in some figures and all, performance, and it produces very wide range of products and services to meet demands of domestic as well as global markets. There are about 6.33 crore enterprises, or all the MSME enterprises are there. And very interesting to see this figures, 45% of the total manufacturing output is from MSMEs only. And 40% of exports, total Indian exports are from MSMEs. And it is also contributing 28% towards the national GDP. And employment giving about 111 million people. Okay. So by seeing all these things, it is one of the important sector next to agriculture sector in India. So the main policy activity has initiated in the year 1951, actually, Industrial Development and Regulation Act 1951. Those days we used to call them as small scale industries. These small scale industries, and they have done a lot of definition changes from 1951 onwards. Every 3-4 years, they used to change the definitions of small scale industries and all. And finally, in 2006, they have introduced a very wide range of facilities and all in the policy, that is Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Development Act in 2006. It is just to give some kind of facilities and incentives and so many other developmental benefits to the micro and small enterprises. So the legal framework also has been defined in this just to address some kind of problems faced by MSME enterprises, and they have been categorized into these 3 micro, small and medium enterprises in that act. And one more thing is only earlier, before 2006, only manufacturing activities have been considered as MSMEs. Later on, they have introduced the service-oriented service activities also in this definition. So both the service activities and manufacturing activities, both are under this MSME Act now. But in further development, in 2000 June at the COVID time, they have the classification has been changed into new definitions. And in fact, before 2020, the classification is based on the investment in plant and machinery only. Then they have defined both manufacturing sector and service sector separately. But after 2020, they have made a lot of changes in the classifications, and they have merged the manufacturing and service sectors also in defining enterprises. And they have added another parameter in defining the enterprises. Earlier, one parameter, that is investment in plant and machinery, is the criteria. Now they have included annual turnover also in defining enterprises. So as per the latest definition, if you see in the screen, investment in plant and machinery, if it is not more than 1 crore and the turnover is not more than 5 crore, that is called micro enterprise. And the small enterprise is if investment not more than 10 crore and the turnover is not more than 50 crore, that is small enterprise. And medium enterprise, investment in is not more than 50 crore and annual turnover is 250 crore, that is medium enterprise. These are the existing definitions. They have revised and enhanced the limits to maximum extent. Previously, these limits are very low, and now there are many enterprises are coming under this MSME umbrella. So these are the latest and existing definitions. So both the criteria of equipment, that is investment in plant and machinery and annual turnover, both the criteria has to satisfy the to define the enterprise. And how the turnover will be calculated? It is a new definition. Earlier there was no turnover criteria. Now they have included. After inclusion of turnover, there are many issues are there. How we will calculate which amount we will consider for defining enterprise and all these things. So for that, there are so many guidelines have been issued in that Gazette notification. So some export of goods and services or both shall be excluded while calculating turnover. So for calculation turnover, they are not including exports. And information as regards turnover and export turnover for an enterprise shall be linked to the Income Tax Act or the Central Goods GST Act. So what happens? Suppose you are an existing entrepreneur running since 5 years. So as per old definition, you have registered. Now you have to migrate to the new enterprise. So for that, what happens? Once you give your PAN number, the turnover and other machinery details and all will be captured from your previous IT returns. So that way, automatically, it will define your enterprise. So that is the system has been developed, and automatic integration has been created with Income Tax Department and GST Department. So it is totally online process. And this it is totally a self-declaration basis only. It is the enterprise registration process and all. And how we will do the registration, all we will see. So now previously we used to call the MSME registration as Udyog Aadhar Memorandum, UAM. Now they have changed into a new name, that is Udyam registration. So this Udyam registration, there is a separate portal has been created for this, udyamregistration.gov.in. That is the government authorized portal for registering any MSME. So entrepreneur, he himself sit in front of a system and open that portal and input these details or whatever they ask as per the format. And once you complete everything and you submit, and your certificate will be ready. Sometimes if it is old unit, it will take some more time to capture the data from background verification and all. That will take 5 to 6 days. So you need not approach any organization, any agency, or any person. Directly, any office, you need not go to any office also. Directly, you can do the registration on your own. And there is no fee for filing Udyam registration. There are so many wrong websites are there, and once you key in something like MSME registration in Google, that will take you to some other portal. There they will charge something, and so many people are losing some money, and we are continuously announcing and advertising about the issue, and now it is streamlined. So please take care that you are logging into the right portal. Udyamregistration.gov.in. .gov.in means it is a government portal. gov.in, that you have to look at. So there is no fees for this. And for this, you need to have the details of Aadhar number, your Aadhar number, because it is Aadhar based registration it is. And PAN number and some bank details. GST number if you have, that is also, it is not compulsory, if you can give that also. So once you have these details, along with your industry, like investment in plant and machinery and other how many employees you are going to employ, all these things you have to, and the address of the enterprise, the location of the enterprise and all, you have to submit through that form. and then everything is successful, then you will get some OTPs. 2 times you will get OTP in the beginning and at the end. So when the OTP is successful, then you will get your registration certificate. That's it. So in case of enterprise duly registered as Ujjam with the PAN, any deficiency of information for previous years when it did not have PAN shall be filled on self-declaration page. Suppose you don't have PAN previously, even now also next year, 1 or 2 days after you want to take. So you self-declaration page also you can put your details and get your registration. And no enterprise shall file more than one Ujjam registration. Suppose you are having one PAN card. Yeah, you can start any number of enterprises, okay? But the registration will be one. And there, suppose you are registering one unit today. So after 1 or 2 years, you are starting another unit in some other place. That unit can be added to this previous registration by using the update option. So that way you can add any number of units, any number of businesses you have to the Ujjam registration anytime. So that is only one enterprise shall file more, no enterprise shall file more than one Ujjam registration. It is like that. And number of activities also. In one unit, you can add number of activities also. So today you have planned to manufacture some 1 or 2 items. Tomorrow you want to add 2 more products. You can add those activities also subsequently. And if in case of intentionally, if you are doing any wrong things, declaring facts and figures, and there will be some penalty as per the act. Okay, so please be careful, and there will always be verification, background verification will be there. And if you find any, if the authorities found any wrong things and all, that will be a problem. Okay. So I suggest you, as far as possible, try to be realistic and give the correct figures, because it is self-declaration. Nobody is going to ask you why you are given and all. But in case if in future if anybody verifies, you have to justify those things. And there are so many other things in this. Some dates also they have given. And previously we used to have Ujjogadhar memorandum, as I told you. And before that, EM Part 2 was there. That has the names nomenclature is changing from time to time. And the latest one is Ujjam registration. So once you, the Ujjam already existing entrepreneurs who are having Ujjogadhar memorandum have to migrate to Ujjam registration system. That is the time. Earlier they have given a time up to 31st March. Now they have extended up to 31st December 2021. So after December 2021, I think Ujjogadhar memorandum is not valid. So so that is a thing you have to keep in mind. And fresh people, if anybody want to start up a new enterprise, they can directly register under this Ujjam registration portal. Now, coming to the what type of benefits, what type of schemes are implemented through this our department. So all these things I am explaining you just to if any person who want to use having some kind of idea, some interest to set up an enterprise, self-employment activity, then they should know everything about what type of organizations are helping us, how we are going forward, how we have to go forward, and whom to contact, and what are the various approvals required, or what are the various facilities are available. All these things you should know. That's why this information is very useful to you, provided if you want to set up an enterprise. And the MSME department is implementing some schemes. Broadly, we have classified into 6 schemes here. So the first one is credit and financial assistance based schemes. And the second one is skill development and training. Third one is infrastructure support schemes. And fourth, technology upgradation scheme. Next, procurement and marketing support and web services. So now we'll discuss one by one. In the credit related, actually, for credit related issues, only financial institutions like banks and some SFCs and SIDB, like that, some institutions are there. They only extend financial assistance to any enterprises. And the government of India is also introducing some kind of financial assistance schemes from time to time. So to help the different types of entrepreneurs. So let us see one by one all those things, and we will discuss all these things. Okay. So the credit and finance listing schemes, we are having 4 items here: CGTMSE, PMEGP, Mudra, Stand Up India. So first, let us see what is CGTMSE. CGTMSE means Credit Guarantee Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises. Credit Guarantee Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises. So what is the why this scheme is there? What is the help we get out of this scheme? So, for example, an entrepreneur is having very good project with him. He has got very vast knowledge, and he has got good capabilities of marketing, manufacturing, all these things. But only thing, when he prepares his project report and approach a financial institution, the first and foremost question he will face there is, what is the guarantee you are providing to us? What are the securities providing to us? So the entrepreneur, if it doesn't have any background, financial background and all, they are helpless in fulfilling that requirement. To help such type of people, Government of India has set up a trust that is called Credit Guarantee Trust, and they have deposited some funds in that, and that trust will stand as a guarantor to the bank on behalf of the entrepreneur. That is the object of this scheme. I think you got it. Okay, just to help the entrepreneur, those who doesn't have capabilities, financial capabilities or background to provide the securities to the financial institution who is providing loans to us. So, bank will never accept any proposal without providing any securities from the entrepreneur. That is always there. But what to do in that circumstances? Government of India itself is giving some guarantee by setting up of this credit guarantee trust to help the micro and small enterprises. So this is a very good scheme for the enthusiastic entrepreneurs, those who doesn't have any financial background, and those who has got enthusiasm to set up an enterprise. So that this is very good scheme. And all existing MSMEs and aspiring entrepreneurs are all eligible for this. And the scheme is implemented by Credit Guarantee Trust for MSEs, and that is CGTMSE. Credit guarantee for loans up to 2 crores without collateral and third party guarantee. There are some conditions are there, I'll explain. And credit guarantee for loans up to 2 crores. So 2 crores worth of loans you can avail without providing any guarantee and all. And the guarantee coverage ranges from 85% to 75%. 85% for micro enterprises up to 5 lakhs limit, and 75% for all others. So what is this 85% and 70%? For example, you are setting up a unit that project cost is worked out to 10 lakhs rupees, for example. So in that 10 lakhs rupees, generally when you approach a financial institution, so you will be asked to contribute your money to some extent. That will be ranging from minimum 25% to maximum 35%. Okay, if you put more, that bank will be very happy. Minimum 25%. The remaining 75% will be given as a loan to the entrepreneur to set up. That is a normal practice. So when that 75%, that means in our project, in our example, 7.5 lakhs. In that 7.5 lakhs, again, you have to provide security for 7.5 lakhs. But in credit guarantee scheme, what happens? That in that 75%, that is 7.5 lakhs, up to 75% for others, and up to 85% for loans up to 5 lakhs will be given as a guarantee. Remaining 25% of that 7.5 lakhs are this 15% of 7.5 lakhs has to be borne by the entrepreneur. So minimum something must be given from entrepreneur. So minimum they have reduced to the maximum bare minimum this one because of the entrepreneurs also, government is also feeling that entrepreneurs also should have some kind of responsibility in the enterprise. So that way they have reduced the burden like this. So you should not accept 100% guarantee cover, and some contribution from your side is also required. Not like earlier, total 75% or 85% you did not give by using this. And recently, guarantee cover is made eligible to select NBFCs and small bank finance. Only nationalized banks were included initially. Now they have included NBFCs and 1 second. Sorry, sir. So the now they have earlier only MSCs means micro, small, medium enterprises, and that is service enterprise and manufacturing activities are called as MSMEs. But in CGTMSE, they are extending this cover to trade activity also, retail trade activities also. The extent of guarantee cover is 80% for micro and small enterprises operated by women, and all credit loans in the Northeast region for credit facilities up to 50 lakhs. There are some terms and conditions I told you, these are the guidelines. And here I have given one website, www.cgtmse.in. In that, all the list of member lending institutions, guidelines, how you are going about all these things, total information has been given in this website. And there, for government to maintain the trust and all, they are collecting some fees from the entrepreneurs. And this is the table given to what extent you are getting the guarantee coverage for different types of enterprises, micro enterprises, women enterprises, Northeast region people, and other category borrowers, and activity, all these things. And limitations also up to 5 lakhs, 85% you will get, 5 lakhs to 50 lakhs, 75%, and 50 lakhs to 200 lakhs, 75%. That is maximum 150 lakhs. So remaining 50 lakhs security you have to provide if you want to avail total 2 crores. So this way you should understand these things before going for the availing for this scheme. And the tenure of guarantee period also, if your loan amount you have given for 5 years or 7 years total period, the total period will be there for guarantee coverage and all. And sometimes working capital needs also you may get in such case maximum 5 years they are giving. That is the time limits they have given like this. So that is about CGTMSE. The next financial assistance scheme introduced by Government of India just to help the educated unemployed youth, that is PMEGP, Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program. So PMEGP, it is an excellent scheme introduced by Government of India, which is having a great advantage of subsidy. So the eligibility conditions, if you see, unemployed rural or urban youth, educated unemployed, okay, eligibility criteria, any individual above 18 years of age. Actually, qualification, earlier there was qualification 8th standard pass, now in 8th fail also they are providing this financial assistance. And budget, every year they are allocating, Government of India is allocating budget for this. It is system is like this. The projects what they are allowing in this is the all micro enterprises. In previous definition, micro enterprise means if it is service unit up to 10 lakhs worth of investment in plant and machinery is the micro unit. If it is a manufacturing unit up to 25 lakhs investment if it is there, that is called micro manufacturing enterprise. So all these manufacturing enterprises have been are eligible for getting financial assistance under this scheme. So, so this is an excellent scheme and which is having the subsidy also. So how subsidy will be given and all we'll see. So again, the areas, rural area, urban area, 2 types of areas are there. And 2 types of areas are there, rural area and urban area. And different types of entrepreneurs are there. Basing on the area and basing on the category of the entrepreneur, the subsidy is different from one other to other. And let us see, if you subsidy for general category, for any general people, anybody, 15% of the project cost in urban areas. And in rural areas, it is 25%. And subsidy for special category means all these people, SC, ST, OBC, minorities, women, Northeast region, hill areas people, all these people are considered as special category for this scheme purpose. And for them, urban areas 25%, here 15%, here 25%, and 35% in rural areas. This is subsidy. And the contribution of the entrepreneur, general candidates 10%, special category people 5%. So as I told you, when you approach a finance institution, some margin is required from the entrepreneur also. So at least 25% in general, any general type of schemes. So here in this scheme, they have reduced that promoters contribution also for general people 10% and special category people. Special category means these people, it is 5%. So this way, subsidy will be provided. So subsidy means what? It is a kind of government grant. Suppose you are setting up of an enterprise of worth of 10 lakhs. So 10 lakhs, 35% subsidy means 3.5 lakhs is given by government and 6.5 lakhs has to be borne by you. So that way you will be getting great help from government. It is a kind of encouragement for the educated unemployed youth. And the other scheme is Pradhan Mantri, and this PMEGP, the procedure how to avail of this scheme is very simple and transparent. And there is a website for this, pmegp.in. In that application, online application, you have to fill and submit along with your project details. And project profile also you have to prepare first. Project profile means whatever you want to do, that has to be on a paper in a systematic way. So you have to there are so many project profiles available on the net. You take one project profile, model project profile, even in PMEG portal also model projects are available. So basing on that, you prepare your project report and give those details in the application form. Once you fill everything and submit the form, your application will be scrutinized by KVIC. There are 3 departments are implementing this scheme. KVIC is one department under our ministry, that is Khadi and Village Industries Commission, and DIC, District Industry Center, that is state government department, which is there in all districts. And the third one is KVIB, Khadi and Village Industries Board. It is again a state government board. So these 3 people are implementing this scheme. The applications, whatever you are submitting online, will be shared by these 3 organizations. Depends upon the area you're setting up. Yes. Yes, sir.
Sir, no, sir. I think some disturbance.
Okay, no problem.
Continue, sir, please.
Yeah. So this is procedure is simple, and you can approach. If you are in Visakhapatnam district, there is a DIC there, and KVIC office. Of course, it will be 1 or 2 offices in every state. So if it is in Visakhapatnam, KVIC office is also there, and Hyderabad, the KVIC office there. Vijayawada also is there. So the other areas you can approach KVIB or DIC also. But online application, once you submit, the application will be scrutinized and forwarded to the financial institution, that is bank. Every bank will have their own target, and each district, the total targets will be distributed to all districts. And again, in that particular district, there will be one LDM, lead district manager will be there, who is the coordinator for all banks. He will distribute all those district targets to all banks. So that bank has to complete those targets. Every year they will have some targets. They have to give financial assistance under this scheme. So that way the application will be routed to the bank where the target is available. So the intimation will go to the entrepreneur also. Then entrepreneur has to approach that bank and get the financial assistance. That is the procedure. And further, if you want any clarifications, doubts and all, you can go to the website and as well as approach these organizations if you want. Okay. The next scheme is Mudra. It is again Prime Minister's very novel financial assistance scheme, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Okay, so this is actually introduced to help the small business people, even from light street vendors to 10 lakhs worth of units. Okay, so maximum loan limit is 10 lakhs. Even 10,000 to 10,000, 5,000 also will be given under this Mudra scheme. So it is just the background of this introducing the scheme is generally we find the small business people who are there, even vegetable market, vegetable vendors, fruit vendors, and some dhobis. So many people are there. So many businesses are there in and around us. Normally, you must have observed that they are depending on some daily finance agents. So morning today they will give some money and daily they will collect some installments for 10 days, 15 days like that. So unknowingly they are incurring a lot of huge interest due to that process. Just to help such type of people, the government has started this Mudra Yojana. Under this scheme, the financial institutions have given a lot of liberty to extend financial institutions under this Mudra scheme. So whoever approaches, you simply, without any securities and all, they can give financial institutions under this scheme. So Micro Units Development Refinancing Agency, that is a Mudra abbreviation. And there are all banks, member financial institutions, NBFs, non-banking financial centers, everything, all are eligible to extend loans under this scheme up to 10 lakhs. And what are the benefits? Providing low-cost funding for microfinance institutions. Even microfinance institutions like NBFCs and all, MFIs, they can also take loan, and by adding little profit and little margin and all, they can extend loans to, again, business people. That way also is possible. And increase liquidity and access for funds for small-scale businesses, mass entrepreneurship development and growth. So anybody can come forward, even trading activity also, they can also take loans under this scheme. Employment generation and higher GDP growth. It is totally freed up. Anybody can approach for any kind of business activity to the financial institution to avail the financial assistance from banks. So that is the scheme. So there are three categories in this. Like under this scheme, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, three categories: Sishu, Kishore, and Tarun. Sishu means covering up to 50 lakhs and 50,000, and Kishore is 50,000 to 5 lakhs, and Tarun is 5 to 10 lakhs. So it depends upon the activity and your project cost handle, you will be categorized in these two categories. And the funding support application format will change for the three categories. There is a system, again, the website is there for the Mudra, exclusive website is there. There the applications are available. You can directly apply by downloading that application and submit to the bank. The funding support for Mudra are of two types: microcredit scheme for loans up to 1 lakh through MFIs, refinance scheme for commercial banks, regional rural banks and all. That is the Mudra, major entity of Mudra will be providing assistance to these agencies, just to help the entrepreneurs. And a business loan for vendors, traders, shopkeepers, anybody can take avail of this loan. Working capital loan through Mudra cards, just like ATM cards, they are issuing Mudra cards. Suppose working capital means, again, you need to understand the terminology. Suppose if you, whatever industry you want to start, you need capital. So capital can be categorized into two components. One is fixed capital, the other one is working capital. So fixed capital is the capital required to invest your money for procuring fixed items like land, building, machinery, like that. And working capital is the capital required for running your business from day-to-day activities and all, like raw materials, salaries, and power charges. All these things will be coming under working capital. So two types of loans are required for any enterprise. But integrated loans, like combination of these loans, will be provided by banks. That is a different issue. So here, why I am explaining this is working capital loan through Mudra cards means working capital means if you work, you need the money. Otherwise, no need. So suppose for your activity, bank will give some kind of sanction that up 1 lakh working capital loan we are going to provide to you. That means 1 lakh limit has been given to you, but you need not avail the total amount at one day. Depends upon your need. You can draw the amount and use it, put it in the business. Once you get the profit, you can repay also. So for that, it is a regular routine process. So that's why they are introducing Mudra cards, just like ATM cards, that within that limit, you can draw your amount and you can pay back whatever way you want. That is called Mudra card. And equipment finance for micro units, transport vehicle loans are there, and the loans for agri-allied and non-farm income generating activities, and tractors, trillers, as well as two-wheelers for commercial purposes. So anything you can buy which is related to business activity under this by availing this Mudra loan. And there is a list of activities. There are so many varieties of activities you can take loans. So these are the very big list is there in website. You can go through all these things. And the fourth one is a Stand Up India scheme. So Mudra loans limited to 10 lakhs, but in Stand Up India, 10 lakhs to 1 crore. That is the thing. And this has been designed for financing to SC, ST and women entrepreneurs. So what about others? Others also can make use of it by, there is a third point if you see, in case of non-individual enterprises, that means if non-SC, ST women entrepreneurs, SC, entrepreneurs, 51% of the shareholding and controlling stake should be held by either SC, ST or women, and remaining 49% can be any for general person. So that way it is like a partnership, something like that, you can avail this benefit. So suppose you are a general candidate, your sister or wife or mother, somebody is there, you can apply a Stand Up India loan on their name and keeping that 51% as their stake and remaining minimum 51%. So remaining is on your stake and you can make use of the loan facility and start your enterprise. So that way it is possible for others also. So this enterprise is for manufacturing, service and trading sector also, they can take the financial assistance. So SC, ST or women entrepreneurs above 18 years of age, eligibility conditions. Loans under the scheme are available for only greenfield project. Greenfield signifies in this context the first time venture of the beneficiary in the manufacturing or services or trading sector. First generation entrepreneurs. And in case of non-individual enterprises, this is the same thing I have told you earlier. Borrower should not be in default to any bank financial institutions in previously. So there should not be any default record for in your career. Suppose you have taken one PMSGP loan, unable to pay that. So next you want to apply for this. Banks will scrutinize your application. They will come to know that and they will deny your application. So you should not be a defaulter for that, for applying this scheme. So this Stand Up India scheme, again, there is a portal for this, separate exclusive portal is there. There what happens once you open that portal, there are some set of questions will be asked to you. Online answers you have to feed. That basing on the answers you are giving, your candidature, you will be categorized into two types. One is a trainee borrower and the second one is a ready borrower. Trainee borrower means you're still having a lack of some information or knowledge with you, and ready borrower means you are totally ready for setting up of enterprise. So trainee borrower will be assisted further by providing some training and by assisting you in preparing a project report, something like that. And ready borrower means when he is ready, he can directly start the enterprise. So then your application, your details will be forwarded to the implementing agencies. That is LDM, SIDBI and NABARD. The three people are there. So the application will go to them automatically online, and they will again will be in touch with you to extend the further processing and all. So that is the procedure. And these are the four financial assistance, credit-related financial assistance schemes I have explained. One is CGTMSE, second one is PMEGP, third one is Mudra, and the fourth one is Stand Up India. In addition to this, in general, anybody can approach any financial institution, bank for getting loans under MSMEs, under MSME category. Because MSMEs have been categorized as a priority lending sector. Just like agriculture, MSMEs also have to be prioritized by the banks in extending financial assistance. So that way, any person, if suppose you don't know any of these schemes, in general also you want to set up an enterprise, then you prepare a project report and approach any bank directly to get the financial assistance. That is a general way of getting loans. So some exclusive preference and exclusive subsidy schemes like PMEGP and all, if you want, you have to follow these things. So in addition to general type of assistance, this is the new specialized schemes introduced by Government of India. So coming to the second activity, skill development and training. So this is also one of the important activity we are taking up in creating awareness and all among the people who want to set up some enterprises, and mostly young entrepreneurs who want to guide, like to motivate young persons representing different sections of the society, like SC, ST women, PH, servicemen, below poverty line, self-employed, any general candidate, anybody for that matter, who wants to select this as a career option, because employment is one career option, self-employment is the second career option. Some people specifically they want to go for the self-employment activities. So for such type of people and all, we can extend a lot of facilities by way of providing skill development and training. Just it is another thing is we have to when we promote new enterprises, this training and other inputs are very much essential for the entrepreneurs. So even existing entrepreneurs also we are having some kind of training facilities, and prospective entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs also we are having different types of training activities. So under this activity, we are organizing different varieties of programs. So the first one is Industrial Motivation Campaign. So Industrial Motivation Campaign, it is a 1 to 2 day duration program. In this, what happens? We take one group. Of course, anybody can approach us by, suppose you are 50, more than 50 people are there. You can ask us to organize this program for them. So what we do is we'll invite all the expert people from the field who are involved in the promotion of entrepreneurship. Like DIC is there, KVS is there, Choir Board is there, banks are there, MSME Development Institute are there, NISET, NISBET, so many institutions are there. We will invite the relevant people and we request them to deliver lectures on their subjects, and the short duration and awareness program it is 1 to 2 days duration. First day we give all the inputs by way of lectures, and the second day we will have the one-to-one interaction if they need any further information and all they want. So that is the it is a kind of basic program, basic awareness program for the persons who want to set up, who is having some kind of idea to set up the self-employment activity. So in a next step is EDP. Earlier we used to call them EDPs. Now EAP it is, Entrepreneurship Development Programs, Entrepreneurship Awareness Programs. They have recently changed the title of the program. So this is 2 weeks duration program. 2 weeks means 10 working days. So in this, the elaborate way of IMC we can say. So previously in 1 day we are giving so many inputs: entrepreneurship motivation, finance listing schemes, MSME, industrial promotion schemes, all these things we will explain in the first activity, that industrial motivation campaign. Whereas in the second activity, the same information will be in elaborated way in a classroom lectures and all, through classroom lectures and all. So it is a 10 days program in which the classes will be arranged by the experts, and they will have, you can have interactions with them. For example, state government, MSME is there. MSME is implementing a lot of schemes. So in that lot of schemes, suppose this 1.5 to 2 hours lecture will be there in elaborate way and personal. It is only limited people we select for the training program. 25 people will select and will give training. So it is, when it is limited, you will have the chance to get more information by way of interactions and all. So that way, training program is always useful. So in this again, we take them to some unit visits also, and we make them to practice some kind of project report preparation and all. We will explain first, and we will make them to prepare on their own. We will guide them, we will assist them. So these are the various activities will be taken up in this EDP program, EAP program. Next to that, little more additional inputs. That is, we are adding skill also in that program. That is entrepreneurship and skill development program. So in this, what happens? It is a 6 weeks program, 6 weeks duration. So we select one skill also. Skill means some kind of technical topic, some fashion designing, some chemical processing industries, some food processing industries, like that. Some technical topic we select, and in that technical topic, we provide practical training, practical oriented training to the participants, and in that they will be enlightened to know the manufacturing procedures also. And they can also practice how to manufacture the product and all. So in addition to an EDP topics, that is entrepreneurship topics, the skill topics also will be there in a 6 weeks program it is. So suppose you want to set up a boutique and all, some women entrepreneur, all men also for that matter. So fashion designing course, if you undergo, you will definitely have the total information about the both technical and general to set up that boutique and fashion designing center. So that way we'll get some hardware maintenance programs are there. Some computer accountancy programs are there. Like that, a specific skill that total program will run. And the fourth one is management development program. So management development program is exclusively for the existing entrepreneurs, workforce of existing enterprises. Suppose we select some specialized management topic. It is a 1 week program. 1 week means 5 working days. So that specialized topics like management topics. There are so many management topics are there. Marketing management, financial management, personal management, working capital management, like that, supply chain. So many management topics are there. We select one topic and we'll give training, intensive training in that topic for the 5 days. So just to develop the skills of the existing workforce of the enterprises. So that way it will be a very useful program for the industrial workers. And the last one, if you see, it is also another important one, MSME technology centers. It is exclusive skill development institute. And MSME technology centers is again, it is a novel project of Government of India. So if anybody, if they are having any knowledge about tool rooms and all, MSME tool room at Hyderabad, like that, so the such type of activity is now termed as MSME Technology Center. So Government of India wanted to set up MSME Technology Centers, about 100 centers throughout the India. So in the first phase, we have already implemented 15 centers in India. In that one center, we got at Visakhapatnam. The main advantage of the center is, the center is equipped with the state-of-the-art technologies, latest machinery and equipments, especially for the outgoing students of any technical institute and all. The courses run by MSME Technology Centers are very useful for them. Practical trainings are there. And suppose lathe machines are drilling, shaping, and CAD, CAM, all these courses are available there at a very reasonable fees. So this technology center, I think Visakhapatnam, we have set up a center in a 20 acres campus we have. There we have developed that center by investing 200 crores. It is a World Bank project it is. So that way the hostel facilities are there for women and men. And in Visakhapatnam near Pudi, Achutapuram Pudi area is there. There on SEZ is there, Special Economic Zone. There we have got the center. Like that, throughout India, some technology centers are there. So just to enhance the skills of any student, they can undergo this training, and placement facilities are also there. Now they are introducing graduation and post-graduation courses also, specialized tool design courses and all they are introducing now. That way, these are very good skill development centers for on behalf of Government of India. So these are the various activities we are taking up. And this is in addition to that, any tailor-made type of activity also we can start. Like some technical skill development activities, time is not sufficient. 6 weeks time may not be sufficient. For such type of cases, we can increase the duration. That is tailor-made, 3 months or like that, and we can organize such type of programs also. Depends upon the need of the people. Okay, so that way we are doing all these activities. And there is some course fees, very nominal course fees are there for training programs. Industrial motivation, it is free of cost. And EDP, 100 rupees fees will be there. And for again, SCS to women, there is no fees for any program. And ESDP, 200 rupees course fees. MDP, that 400 rupees course fees. Like that, nominal course fees also is there for the training activities. Very nominal it is. Next, infrastructure support schemes. So MSME department is always helping different types in different ways. So some people may need subsidy, some people may need some kind of financial assistance, some people may need some marketing support like that. So by developing infrastructure also, the MSME sector can be taken to the next level. So in that again, there are two main schemes are there. One is Spurti, that is a scheme of fund for regeneration of traditional industries. And the other one is MSC CDP, Micro Small Enterprises Cluster Development Program. So this first, in this Spurti, what happens? It is nothing but an activity for the development of clusters. Cluster means a group of enterprises who involved in manufacturing similar type of product at a geographically reachable area. It's a very at one place, you can say. So such type of group of enterprise can be called as this cluster. So that for that clusters only, these two activities are there. Okay. So the main objective of this first scheme, Spurti, is to organize the traditional industries and artisans into clusters in order to make them competitive and provide support for their long-term sustainability. What happens in this small units with the similar activities? For example, if I give the example, and there are some mango jelly manufacturing units, about 200 to 300 units are there in East Godavari, some one place, and Vijayanagaram also some place it is there. And the cashew nut processing industries, about more than 150 to 200 units are there in Palasa. Okay, so like that, there are some cluster of activities are going on in different places of the different in India. So for such type of group of activities, if they come forward as a association, they will get some kind of financial assistance. Financial assistance, that is a government grant, that's not a loan from government. What way we are giving that assistance, let us see. So regular clusters, major clusters, two types of clusters they are defined for this Spurti program. Regular means up to 500 artisans. Even this traditional industries, you see, Spurti means traditional industries. For example, Yetikopaka wooden toys are there. That is a traditional activities going on since so many years. So they will be taken as a group for this for the purpose of Spurti cluster. And that artisans, the skilled people are called as artisans also. Those artisans, if they are less than 500, the financial assistance will be up to 2.5 crores. And if it is more than 500 cluster artisans, then financial assistance will be 5 crore per cluster. So what way we will help them is, we provide financial assistance for developing some kind of common facility centers. Common facility center means a person individually, they cannot develop that facility. They cannot purchase that machine. They cannot have that type of equipment with them. So such type of machineries and equipments will be provided under one roof of by setting up of a common facility center. All artisans can make use of that machines, and they can manufacture the good quality products, well finished products by using the latest machines and equipments. So that is one kind of common facility center. There are two types of facilities, soft interventions and hard interventions. Soft intervention means nothing but a kind of type of activity. So 10% of hard 10% will be given, maximum up to 25 lakhs. And here hard interventions 90 to 95% will be given as financial assistance, Government of India support. So remaining percentage will be borne by the entrepreneurs, group of entrepreneurs. So that way, there are so many details are there in this. Just I want to give outlines of this scheme. Next one is very important, MSC CDP, which is applicable to all general industries. So in this, different types of advantages are there. So how we'll give what is the objectives and all, we'll see. So there are so many schemes in this. So now I think you understand what is cluster and why government is taking much interest to develop these clusters. So cluster, if we take and give this financial assistance at a minimum amount, maximum number of units will get benefit at a very reasonable way, and great help will be given with minimum efforts of government. So that is the main one. So in this again, there are 5 components are there in the MSC CDP scheme. Setting up of common facility center, as I told you now, Common facility center means, so machinery and equipment may be there, raw material depot. So all are required similar type of raw material. Okay, that raw material sometimes every individual they are purchasing for their requirement only, and when you are purchasing a low quantity, you have to pay more money. So by implementing this cluster activity, so all people they can keep at one place as raw material depot and purchase a huge quantity, and individual entrepreneurs they can draw as per their requirement from that depot. So what happens here, the total cluster that cluster association will get the raw materials at very reasonable cost. That way they can reduce their expenditure, recurring expenditure. And some testing facilities are there. Some, if it is a food processing cluster is there, some food testing laboratory, individual units cannot establish. It is costing about 5 to 6 lakhs rupees. Whereas if it is a cluster, that lab will be established in the common facility center, and everybody can get tested their products there. That way, without any financial burden, they can get the testing facility. So like that, complementing production process. For example, we have given one cluster, we have implemented one cluster development activity at Vijayawada, that gold ornament manufacturers cluster. So there is a place, I think near Governorpet somewhere. There are about 150 gold artisans are there. Gold activity people are there. So all those small shops they have, and they came forward as association to us, and we have given financial assistance under the cluster development scheme. We have provided the very latest equipments, like how the machine made jewelry is manufactured now in all major shops. You must have seen that designs and all latest designs with machine made products. So those all things can be done in that common facility center now by all the 150 and artisans. Artisans means that manufacturing gold activity people. So that way it is very useful, and sometimes they can enhance their skills by organizing some kind of training also, by inviting some expert from other places and all. So that way they can enhance their skills, enhance their knowledge, use the facility, latest equipments, and gold testing. Recently now I think the certification is also compulsory now. So that certification facility also you can provide in this common facility center. So like that CFCs we are giving finance, and create and upgrade infrastructure facilities. It is nothing but let us see one by one. And common facility centers, these are the details are available here. Infrastructure development, if you see, development of land, roads, drainage, power distribution, etc. New industrial area. There is an industrial area, for example, Visakhapatnam Autonagar is there, Anakapalli Autonagar is there, Vijayawada Autonagar is there, like the industrial development areas. In that area, if you want to develop the infrastructure like roads and all, they can make use of this government facility of MSC CDP scheme for all these things, like development of land, roads, drainage, power system and all. And they can also set up their association hall and all. So that way their infrastructure can be developed under this. And that is another component. The third one is marketing hubs and exhibition centers by associations. Associations also will be given financial assistance for setting up of some kind of exhibitions. Exhibition means nothing but place where all suppliers' products will be displayed to create awareness among the about their product among the other buyers. So such type of permanent setup or temporary setup can be done by availing financial assistance under this MSC CDP scheme. And thematic interventions like some training programs, exposure visits. Some cluster people, if they want to see some other developed cluster, so they will be taken there and shown those activities there. Then they will come back and implement the same thing at their cluster also. Such type of exposure visits also will be organized under this thematic interventions. So these are the activities, and state government also there is a separate funding scheme is there under this cluster development program. So the government of India assistance will be like this. Government of India says Government of India grants 75%, 70% of the project cost. Suppose common facility, you want some 10 lakh, some 5 to 10 crores you have worked out. In that 70% will be given by government. Remaining 30% you have to be borne by the all units. Whereas 90% for special areas like Northeast region, hilly areas, some traditional aspirational districts. Aspirational districts means nothing but backward districts. Like LW, left-wing extremism affected districts, clusters more than 50% of micro village, small units, women enterprises also. They will be given up to 90% that project cost as a financial assistance. And remaining 10% has to be borne by all these people. So total project cost should not exceed 20 crores. Okay. So it is a great contribution by Government of India, MSME department, for promoting the clusters, for developing the clusters. And the next one is SPV, means nothing but association. All cluster people, they have to formalize an SPV, special purpose vehicle it is called. So there is a, under this some Section 8 company, they have to register. The eligibility conditions I am telling is. And no single unit to hold more than 10% in the equity capital. So equity capital means their contribution. So there are some other guidelines are there. The clusters, if they want to have more information and all, our website they can approach and get the details. And this is first component for common facility centers. These are the financial limits. These are the financial limits. This 20 up to 20 crores they can make use of the benefit under this cluster development program for setting up of common facility center. It is not a loan. It is a grant by government. Okay. And infrastructure development, the here amount is 10 crore for industrial estates and 10 crore for industrial estates and 15 crore for flatted factory complexes. And even small place also, multi-storied complex you can build, and that storage complex, the small shops you can give to the small entrepreneurs. That is called flatted factory complex. For that 15 crores financial assistance will be given, and this is industrial estates 10 crores will be given for infrastructure development. Okay, so again 60% government amount for general people and all, and as for special category 80% will be project cost. Remaining 20% they have to pay promotes. Even state government also, they can also participate as in this contribution and all. Okay, so this is the scheme for infrastructure development. And the marketing hubs also. So here project cost up to 10 crores, marketing hubs and exhibition centers can be set up by industry associations and all. So for that also there are so many guidelines are available. And the thematic interventions, actually 2 lakhs is the fund for each activity. There are 5 activities are there: training programs, exposure visits, strengthening BDS, and any other activity related to ecosystem. So like that. So these are the different financial assistance schemes available for cluster development program. And innovative cluster development in the state government, they are giving 5 crores rupees under this scheme. If they submit any kind of innovative cluster development, if they submit, they will be given 5 crores financial assistance. Now coming to the technology upgradation schemes. In technology upgradation, in this what happens, so Government of India, they have introduced a lot of schemes under this technology upgradation to make the MSMEs competitive in the existing present competitive world. Because MSME means it is a small enterprise which are having their so many problems, issues will be there in running their enterprises, and they cannot compete with the big people because of their problems and all. And the manufacturing cost and all, they cannot compete with other. Just to make them competitive, government is giving some kind of benefits through implementing some schemes under this technology upgradation. So let us take one by one. There are 6 components under this technology upgradation scheme. The first one is design expertise to manufacturing MSME sector. So Indian manufacturing sector and design expertise, design fraternity on one common platform and to provide expert advice and a cost-effective solution on real-time design problems. It's nothing but a person who is implementing his activity by following the procedures when he started about 10 years back, and the same design may not sustain now. So he has to change the design according to the present market conditions and all. Okay. So just to do that, he cannot do it on his own because he needs some support, some guidance, some technological inputs he needs to design the products in new designs and all. For that, he has to employ one design expert, and he has to pay the consultant fees to them and all. Then the new designs will be implemented. So what happens, Government of India is supporting MSMEs under this scheme in such a way that, suppose if a group of enterprises means not more, even one person also can approach, and if it is more, it will be easy to get the financial assistance. So 5-6 people, if they come forward, and then they can employ one design expert to study their units and designs and all existing designs, and that fellow will suggest the new designs in a real-time basis. After suggesting the design, he has to show that it is better than the older design, it is advantageous for them. Then the consult fees will be, to some extent, will be borne by Government of India. So what happens here, financial assistance to the MSMEs for engagement of design consultants for design intervention. Government of India contribution is 75% for micro, 60% for medium, and for the project range 15 lakhs to 40 lakhs. So consultants always charge heavily for this consultancy activity. So in that, almost small micro people and all 75% if they will get from government as a support contribution. So remaining 25% they have to borrow. A group of people they have to borrow. So that way new designs can be developed in there and marketing to their enterprises. And there is another component, student projects are there in design expert. Suppose the final year students every final year they have to submit some projects. So if they choose a design project, so for such people also we are giving support up to 25 lakhs, 70% of the amount will be reimbursed to him. First he has to spend and then amount will be reimbursed. Or actually what amount they spent to develop a design, in that only they will give. Maximum is 1.5 lakhs for final year students. That is only for design projects, not other projects. Okay. So next technology upgradation component is lean manufacturing competitiveness scheme. It is nothing but to reduce the wastage in the enterprise, to increase the productivity, introducing innovative practices for improving overall competitiveness, inculcating good management systems, and imbibing a culture of continuous improvement. These are the various steps, various issues are there which will be overcome by implementing the lean manufacturing techniques. Lean manufacturing is nothing but some Japanese oriented techniques all are there. Those techniques will be implemented to address all these things. So that is called lean manufacturing competitiveness. So once you implement all these things, you will be will become definitely advantage for improving your productivity and value of the products also. So how will help the people in this way? Here also we will employ a consultant, expert consultant, and that expert consultants will implement all the lean manufacturing components in your industry, and that consultant fees will be reimbursed up to 80%. Remaining 20% has to be borne by the enterprises. So here it is compulsorily minimum 4 people are required. Minimum 4 industries they can come forward to apply for this scheme. So this way that consultant also is practically real time. They have to show that by implementing these techniques, your productivity will increase like this, your wastages will be minimized like this. All these things they have to prove. Then automatically that will be beneficial to the enterprises. So this is the 80% government grant will be there, and the remaining 20% will be borne by the enterprises. So this consultant fees up to 36 lakhs worth can be paid by government. Okay. Next, digital MSME scheme. Digital MSME scheme, the main objective is to make MSMEs digitally empowered. As you all know that present situation, everything is computerized and the latest apps, so there are so many programs are there, softwares you have to buy, so many things are there. So everybody has to equip digitally to improve their productivity, business activity and all. So Government of India also wants to make everybody empowered with digital systems and all. So for them, this scheme will be useful. But thing is, it's a group of people, they have to come forward to avail this scheme, and they motivate them to adopt ICT schools, information communication technology tools and applications in their production business process with a view to improve their competitiveness in national and international markets. So nature of assistance will be given in for these components: digital empowerment, adoption of ICT tools, ERP software, e-marketing, all these things. Next is a JED certification scheme. JED certification scheme. JED means zero effect and zero defect. Zero defect and zero effect. That means in your enterprise, you have to manufacture the product without any defect. That means zero effect, zero defect. And due to your enterprise, there should not be any effect to the environment. That is the concept of this JED, zero defect and zero effect. So it is nothing but a quality certification scheme. Just like ISO 9000, all these things, that is, that international standard organization certification scheme. Like that, JED certification scheme introduced by Government of India. It is Indian version of quality certification scheme. It is meant for the total quality of the system of the enterprise. Okay. So they will assess the various issues implemented in your industry, and basing on the prevailing situations and all, you will be categorized into different types. Different types of certifications are there. So that is the main objective. So suppose if you are a JED certified unit, your marketability will increase, your industry running of your business, everything will be useful to you. So that way it is very good quality certification program introduced by government. So in this, just to encourage, enable MSMEs for manufacturing of quality products using latest technology tools and upgrade their processes for achievement of high productivity and high quality with the least effect on the environment, and develop an ecosystem for zero defect and zero effect manufacturing MSMEs for enhancing competitiveness and enabling exports, and promote adoption of quality and recognizing the efforts of successful MSMEs. So these are the various objectives for this JED scheme. So it is also, there is a online registration is there, self-assessment is there, desktop assessment is, different types of steps are there in assessment process and all. There is a separate agency, Quality Council of India, one organization is there, which is the nodal agency for implementing this JED certification scheme. So they will only, they are the experts in guiding you to get this certification, and they are the people who award the certification also, basing on the guidelines stipulated by Government of India. So there are 5 levels of certifications: bronze, silver, gold, diamond, and platinum. That depends upon the point rating you are getting out of your, due to the study of your unit and all. So those ratings can be improved by incorporating some kind of procedures and systems. So the total certification fees, subsidies, Government of India will give the subsidy for micro enterprises. 80% subsidies there. Only 20% have to be borne by the enterprise for getting the certification. Small enterprise 60%, medium enterprise 50%. So if it is micro and small, almost major amount you are getting from government only for getting certification. That is the JED certification scheme. And the next one is support for entrepreneurial and managerial development of MSMEs through incubators. It is nothing but a business incubator, we call it as. So the main objective is to promote and support untapped creativity of individual. Some people are there, they have got some creative thoughts in their mind, but they are unable to implement. They are unable to use that creative, create those things, whatever is there in his mind, innovativeness and all. For such type of people, it is very useful. And promote adoption of latest technologies in manufacturing as well as knowledge-based innovative MSMEs that seek the validation of their ideas at the proof of concept level. Once you have an idea, you have to document that idea and to make it practical. Okay, so in that transformation stage, you need some financial assistance to develop the product. That financial assistance will be provided by us. So eligibility, all technical colleges, engineering colleges, university colleges, professional degree colleges, R&D institutes, NGOs who are involved in the promoting these innovative activities, they are all eligible for getting assistance under this business incubator scheme. So enterprise development centers of DCMSME, MSMEDAs, and also can register as a host institutes. So once you are recognized as a host institute, for example, your engineering college is there. If your institute is recognized as a host institute, you can implement this scheme in your institute by inviting the innovative ideas from the people, those who want to develop some new idea. Okay. So how we will help them? Let us see. And the students and Ujjam registration MSMEs can apply to the registered host institute for developing and nurturing the ideas. Not only institute means not only for students, even surrounding MSME units also, they can make use of this business incubator facility of your institution to develop the ideas and products. So nature of assistance will be like this. So up to 15 lakhs per idea shall be provided to host institute for developing, nurturing the same. So you have to what you have to do is, suppose you have got some innovative idea, you have to prepare a project report to develop that idea. Okay, so that means it needs some requirement of financial assistance. Suppose it is costing about 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, maximum 15 lakhs. Up to 15 lakhs, you can get financial assistance from government. But that host institute will get that amount to implement that scheme in association with the person who want to develop that idea. So ultimately, the idea will be developed free of cost with the help of government. Okay. Once it is developed, it can be commercialized. It can be developed as a business activity and all. That is the latter part. So our motto is that such type of innovative products have to be converted into business ideas. Okay. So practically they have to manufacture those things and all. That is the main requirement of government. And in addition to this, 1 crore amount will be given for installation of relevant plant and machines to develop that idea. You need some kind of equipments also, some kind of maybe some systems are available required, some infrastructure facilities required. All those things can be developed. For that, up to 1 crore will be given. That depends upon the requirement. You have to submit your project. In that, it has to be justified. There is a committee at central level which will study all those things and sanction the amount. So that will be given to, again, host institution. That is the institute which has been selected as business incubation center. And the third one is 1 crore as seed capital support to appropriate incubators in the form of soft loan, interest-free loan, equity participation, grant of combination of these. So for the institute, again, they will take this amount of 1 crore to provide the further to the entrepreneurs or whoever developed the project. It can be given as soft loan to the people. This is also a corpus fund like they can use and develop the enterprises. This is about business incubator scheme. Next is IPRs, intellectual property rights. Intellectual property rights, as you all know that, I think most of you might be knowing, patents, copyrights, designs, geographic indication, all these things will be coming under this IPRs, intellectual property rights. So intellectual property rights means nothing but our innovative ideas and all, which are to be protected by way of some kind of the legal certificate and all. That is called IPRs, patent certificate, patents and all. You must have heard, no, such type of things. So here also we are giving some kind of financial assistance for the entrepreneurs or individuals also. And the main objective is to enhance the awareness of IPRs among the MSMEs and other people, intellectual endeavor in Indian economy. to take sustainable measures for the protection of ideas, technological innovation, and knowledge-driven business strategies. So, so these are various activities. So what type of assistance we are providing is reimbursement of patent registration trademarks for setting up of IP facility centers, interactive seminars, workshops, and all. So reimbursement of your expenditure. If it is a domestic patent, up to 25,000 will be given by government as a kind of help, and foreign patent 2 lakhs, GA registration 1 lakh, IP facilitation center if you set up up to 65 lakhs will be given to set up an IP facilitation center. And you can organize awareness program also. For that also 70,000 rupees will be given. So these are all the financial assistance components under this IPR scheme. These are all given by Government of India. The next one is procurement and marketing support. It is a very good important scheme implemented by Government of India. So here what happens is the main problem for any MSME is marketing their products. So actually government cannot do anything directly to help the entrepreneurs in marketing their products. Government will not sell your product, but it will help you indirectly by doing some activities which I am going to tell you now. So it is to enhance the marketability of products and services in the MSME sector, to promote new market access initiatives, create awareness and educate the MSMEs about various marketing relevant topics. And there are so many initiatives taken by government, like organizing trade fairs, digital advertisement, e-marketing, GST, GEM portal, public procurement, all these things are there. We will discuss now. So what type of components are there in this marketing support? Suppose participation in individual MSEs in domestic trade fairs, exhibitions. There are some trade fairs and exhibitions will be organized by different types of people. Trade fair means you know that in all important cities, every year some kind of trade fairs will be going on. There what happens, a person who is having some product will go there and book a stall, and there they will display their products. So that will be viewed by the visitors, and sometimes your awareness about your product will be increased to many folds because of participating in the trade fairs. It is a place where people will visit, number of people will visit, and they will be exposed to your products. And sometimes you can market your products also in the exhibitions. These are the various advantages if you participate in the exhibition. As a small entrepreneur, it will be difficult for you to spend some money even participating in exhibitions, unless you are having some assured market and the capabilities and all. For such type of people, Government of India is supporting like this. For stall rent and contingent expenses, we are providing some money, like 80% of the space rent paid for general categories units, 100% for SC/ST women PH units, limited to total reimbursement up to 1.5 lakhs for Class A city, means like Hyderabad, Bangalore, all these things, Class A cities, and 1 lakh, maximum 1 lakh for Class B cities, and 80 lakhs for other cities, 80,000 for other cities. This also includes 25,000 rupees of contingent expenses. Contingents means your travel, publicity, and freight. Okay, so all together, stall charges and these contingent charges, all together, these are the maximum limits provided by, which is more than sufficient for your participation in any exhibition, any trade fair. Generally, for example, Hyderabad, HITEX is there, you know. HITEX, almost every daily one exhibition will be going on there. So there, if you want to participate, you have to spend some 40,000, 50,000, even 1 lakh also. That means that the total amount you can get from Government of India as a reimbursement. First, you have to pay there, and afterwards, you have to apply for reimbursement. So before going there, you have to take approval from us. You have to register your name with us, then you will be reimbursed. That means on free of cost, you can participate in the exhibitions, which will help you indirectly in marketing your products. There is one kind of activity under PMS scheme. And the second one is organizing, participating in trade fairs, exhibitions, regional, national, international, by ministries. So other ministries, if any the other departments, they can also organize, they themselves can organize some exhibitions. Generally, we see people, private people who are organizing some exhibitions around us. Now government agencies also will be given some financial assistance. 30 to 40 lakhs rupees will be given under this component. If it is a regional exhibition, 30 lakhs, and in national events, it is 40 lakhs. Total budgetary support will be given. So in that again, 80% for general assistance will be there, and 100% for SC/ST women people. They can get the stalls and all under this fees and all. So this way we will support. This is the second component. Third one is capacity building of MSMEs in modern packaging techniques. Even packaging also, you can just take a design change and all. Packaging also you have to go along with the latest changes and trends and all these things. So such type of things, if you want to implement, you need to get some expert advice. There is an expert in Government of India institution, Indian Institute of Packaging is there, IIP. That IIP people, you can take assistance from them to implement the new packaging techniques in your industry. Okay, so that that empaneled agency or agency, if they suggest you some say change of packaging and all to some other new type, then they will charge something, and that 80% of their cost will be reimbursed, up to 1 lakh for packaging consultancy and 1.5 lakhs for green packaging consultancy. Two types are there. So almost with the free of cost, you will get the expert advice on your packaging aspects. Some products, it is packaging are very important one. Such type of people. Some products you have to follow all the stringent guidelines of packing the product to protect the product in a safe way. So such way you can you can approach an expert institution like IIP and get their guidance, and that fees and all whatever they are charging will be paid by government. Okay, so that is the one. Another one is development of marketing hearts. Marketing hearts, nothing but small market mandis are there, no, local markets and all. So some already that in Telugu, if you say Santa, used to call. Okay, so every weekly markets and all will be undertaken at some fixed places and all. So such type of markets also can be developed under this procurement marketing support PMS scheme. So there also some financial assistance will be given as a government grant. Okay. And the last one is organizing international national workshop seminars. So some export marketing, if you want to organize on international level of marketing support seminar, for that we are giving some kind of financial assistance, 5 lakhs for workshop, and if it is an international seminar for international expert, we are giving 2.5 lakhs additional cost of their travel and lodging, boarding, everything. So some organizations, industry associations, all reputed institutions, they can apply for this, and they can organize this type of training activity also. This is the last component of this one. Next, vendor development programs are there. Vendor development means, vendors means the MSME people, they are vendors. And the buyers means the large enterprises, government departments, they are all buyers. Suppose these vendors can be given some kind of awareness on public procurement policy, which will be knowing next slides. This public procurement policy, it is also marketing assistance policy introduced by Government of India in 2012. So the main object of this public procurement policy is, it is giving an assured market to the MSMEs from Government of India agencies. So for example, see this central ministries, departments and public sector undertakings. These people are buying a lot of items every year for their routine activities, for running their routine activities. Let us take PSU, public sector undertaking, like Visakhapatnam Steel Plant or HPCL, like that. Some PSUs are there. No? They are annually procuring crores of worth of materials from the market. Maybe wherever they are, but that is their will and wish. But government, what they have done by introducing this policy, they have kept some restrictions on the PSUs to buy at least 25% of their annual procurement from MSEs, micro and small enterprises. That is the condition, that is a policy, that is compulsory for all government departments to follow this policy. It is compulsory. So that means some assured market has been created for MSEs, micro and small enterprises. So that is the object of this scheme. how they are implementing and all. There is some procedures and all. See, every central ministry, department, PSU shall set an annual target for 25% procurement from MSC sector. Every year they have to submit their reports, how much they are purchasing from MSC sector. If any lack of their activity and all, they will be given, I think, some kind of punishment or some warning, something like that from Government of India. And they have to show the improvement every year. And in this, in 25% again, there is a exclusive reservation also will be given, has been given in this policy. 4% for SC, ST and 3% for exclusively women enterprises has been allocated to this these special category, 4% and 3%. 4% to SC, ST and 3% to women enterprises. So overall 25% of assured market has been provided for micro and small enterprises. So this is the public procurement policy objectives. So in this again, there are some other guidelines are also there. If you are a registered MSC enterprise, Ujjam registration, if you have, you will be given preference. And there is a reservation of products is there. There are the exclusive list of products are available, which have to be purchased 100% from micro and small enterprise only. That list, 383 numbers, the product list is there available in our website. It is there. In that list, if any product is there, that product has to be purchased only from MSC sector. Even if a major enterprise, if anybody manufacturing also, if it is cheaper than MSC also, they cannot purchase. It is exclusively they have to purchase from that from the MSC enterprise only. And tender cost sets and all will be given free of cost for the MSME people. Exemption of EMD. Every if you want to participate in any tender of any PSU, you have to pay some EMD. That EMD is also exempted for MSCs. These are the facilities provided in this public procurement policy for the MSC, micro and small enterprises. And there is another facility has been given, price preference facility has been given. For example, when tender process is there, that the lowest bidder will be termed as L1 supplier. Then the next person or some other person is having a small scale entrepreneur also quoted, okay, but he is not lowest. Then the enterprise, the PSU, what they have to do is by adding 15% to the L1, okay, that offer can be given to the if the price is within this limits of L1 plus 15% quoted by that MSC enterprise, then they have to given preference. They have to be given preference, though it is not L1, to purchase at least 25% of their requirement from MSC sector. But that they have to supply at L1 price only, even though they have given a extra price, extra quote. They have, if they are willing to supply at L1, they will be given again a chance, second chance to supply that is the price preference point, this one. Okay, so these are the things for under public procurement policy. This I told you, the 350 items list is there now. In that, this is exclusive purchase for all departments. There are so many departments, buyers, central government departments 46, ministries 51, CPSUs 277. Okay, so these are the various buyers are there. Suppliers, all these MSMEs are suppliers. So there are some web portals also developed by Government of India. In that one web portal is MSME Samadhan. MSME Samadhan means it is nothing but a delayed payment monitoring system. When an enterprise is supplying some material to some public sector undertaking, government institution, due to some reasons his payment has been delayed. So such type of people, government is helping by introducing this delayed payment monitoring system. And here you can give a complaint if it is beyond the agreement limits, if that fellow is not, that PSU enterprise has not paid your amounts. And there is in the MSME Act 2006 also, there is a clause has been kept under the for helping MSMEs. So as per this clause, they have to be given preference to pay back. If it is delayed, they have to pay with penal interest. So how they will pay and all, within 45 days, they have to clear the dues. If it is crossing 45 days, then they have to pay 3 times of the bank rate of interest along with some penalty. So for this, who will help you in this? Every state government, as per the act, every state government has to notify, has to set up an MSc Facilitation Council. It is a legal body. This body will give the guidelines to the PSU, and that guidance means that is judgment like it is. So the PSU has to implement that and make the payments to the enterprise. So that way, government is supporting MSMEs in getting their payments. Any due payments are there. So this is the website of MSME Samadhan. Just I will go through. The time is running out. This is msmesamadhan.gov.in. Here you can file your case. If you need to have your Ujjam registration or Ujjogadar, then you can file your case. You can track your status of your case also. So where it is and all. This once you file the case, that will be referred to the State Facilitation Council. They will take care of the other hearings and all. They will call both the parties and sorted out the issue. That is the help done by Government of India by introducing the MSME Samadhan portal. Next one is MSME Sambandh. It is nothing but an information portal for the MSCs. So all public sector undertakings, government departments, they have to put their material, whatever their procurement items and all, and the tender procedures and all, everything they have to display in this MSME Sambandh portal. So any MSME unit, they can go through the Sambandh portal and they can know that which organization is buying what type of materials and all. So that the MSME entrepreneur also can plan some kind of materials which are required by government departments and what type of procedure they are following. At one place, you will get all the information of PSUs. This is MSME Sambandh. It is nothing but a relationship between PSUs and MSMEs. So here this is the portal of MSME sambandh.msme.gov.in. In this you can have all the details. And there is an important portal created by Government of India, that is champions.gov.in. It is nothing but a single window system for MSMEs. So to help the MSMEs in any issue, any problem they face in their day-to-day activities and all, they can make use of this Champions portal. They can put their grievance in this portal. So to help the MSMEs in difficult situations in terms of finance, raw materials, labor, permissions, any approvals, etc., anything, and opportunities in the manufacturing and service sectors also, the information will be there. And to identify the sparks, the bright MSMEs, good running MSMEs, they have to become the champions, national or international champions. That is the main objective of this Champions portal. So anybody can make use of this Champions portal. They have to put their grievance. That grievance also will be resolved within 24 to 48 hours. Okay, that fast we are solving the issues. So this is the portal of that. Here you can create your grievance, and automatically you can track your grievance also. What type of the answers will be given to your directly mail ID, phone number, and all the resolutions. Another one is My MSME. This is the app-based portal it is. So all our schemes and components and all have been designed like a app-based portal. So like this MSME, My MSME portal is there. So all these things, Ujjam registration is there, problems for Hackathon, Impactful, this aspirational digital payments, design clinic, lean manufacturing, all these our scheme components are there in this. And how to apply for a scheme and all, everything will be through this system only. And the last one is government e-marketplace. It is a Government of India Government of India marketing portal like Flipkart, Amazon, and they're all private portals. It is Government of India portal, especially for the procurement by government departments. So any government office, government organization, PSUs and all, they have to purchase their requirements through this GEM portal only now. So it is compulsory now. So that means any MSME unit or any supplier, they can register as a seller here, and all government departments, they can buy those products by just like Amazon, how you are purchasing your product. Similar way, we can government department. I am also government department. I can purchase the requirements of our office through this GEM portal. That way it is a very huge market has been created for all the MSMEs also. So for buyers, it is very transparent and ease of buying, offers rich listing of products for individual category of goods, services, and direct purchase for amounts up to 25,000, L1 for 25,000 to 5 lakhs. And there is a bidding system also, integrated payment system, totally online system. You need not approach any organization, there is no personal contact at all. Directly, you will supply the material and once you receive the order automatically, you will supply the material and upload your invoice, you will get the payment in stipulated time. That is the total integrated system is there. If you have any problems also, there is a grievance redressal system within the portal is there. And for sellers, anybody can become a seller in this. Those who wish to sell their products to the government, they can register as a seller. National procurement market you can access, you can have access, and there is no fees for seller registration. And for MSMEs, emporium products, special provisions are there for them. Preferences are there, like general seller and MSME seller. You can there is a categorization for that, and it's totally online, paperless, contactless platform. It is very useful for the people who want to do business, sell their product to the government departments. So this is GEM portal. Here you can register as a seller or buyer. Buyer means whoever buy, they can directly go to the website and create the login credentials and buy the product. Sellers means there is a procedure. You have to provide the product information with catalogs, specifications, price. So all these things you have to provide. Then your products will be viewed by all departments. This is the GEM portal. So these are the various activities from MSME organization. So like that, there are so many other organizations also which will help you. And local state government is also doing a lot of activities, promotional activities. And in fact, state government is giving more benefits than central. Direct investment subsidies and all will be given by that. There is a policy, MSME promotion policy is the 2000 to 2023 by government of Andhra Pradesh, in Andhra Pradesh. Likewise, other states also, they have their own policies. So all people, they can approach their local DAC, Jilla Parishramaల Kendram antam. Prati district will have one DAC. They will implement these incentive schemes and all. And there are so many subsidized programs are there. You can approach any local department, they can get the guidelines. There are some other organizations also, NSIC, National Small Industries Corporation are there. But major one is MSME organization, that's our department. The second important one is DAC, State Government Department. These two you should understand totally before setting up of any enterprise. I hope I have given a lot of information with a short time. So if you have any further queries, doubts and all, you can ask me or you can ask me later also. My number is with, I think, Mr. Subodh. So you can contact us anytime. Our office is at Visakhapatnam. For the total Andhra Pradesh state, it is located in Visakhapatnam. And my mail ID is also I have given to you. And there is a champions portal for all your grievances, whatever you want to come. So that's all.
Shravan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request the participants to post their questions in the chat box. So there is a question, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Can students apply for incubation for the startups under MSME?
Yeah, actually, there is a list of host institutions. Okay, suppose in our Andhra Pradesh, we are having some institutions recognized for development of this scheme. MVGR Engineering College is there, GMRIT is there, Vidyan is there. Like that, some institutes have been recognized. That is called host institution. There, if you have any idea, innovative idea, you have to prepare your project report and submit your report there in that host institution. Then your report will be scrutinized by a committee. If it is approved, you will be getting financial assistance to develop that product through that host institution. So any students can apply, any faculty can apply, any MSME entrepreneur can apply.
Thank you, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I request the participants to post their questions in the chat box. So again, I request the participants to post their questions in the chat box.
I think no more questions. We can.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Finally, I would like to conclude this webinar by thanking our Honorable Vice President, Mr. Satish Mehta, sir. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank our Principal, sir, Dr. S. Shambhu Prasad, sir. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank our Vice Principal, sir, K. Satyanarayan, sir. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank our resource person, Mr. G. Raghuram, sir, for sharing his valuable knowledge with us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
I
sir.
would like to thank our HOD sirs of respectable departments. Thank you, sirs. I would like to thank our management staff, faculty members, technical staff, students, and all the participants for making this webinar a grand successful one. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. And I would request the participants to use the same joining link, which is provided in your WhatsApp group for afternoon session. I repeat, I request the participants to use the same joining link, which is posted in your WhatsApp group for afternoon session. Thank you. Thank you, one and all, for making this webinar a grand successful one.
Thank you, sir. Raghuram, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raghuram, sir. We are
Thanks,
highly
sir.
grateful for your support, sir.
No, it's our duty, no problem. Thank you so much.
Sir, we will be in touch. After that, we will be in touch regularly to develop our platform through your support.
Sure, sir. You are most welcome. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you.